This episode of The Young Turks is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook at audiblepodcast.com/TYT.
PJ Crowley was the State Department spokesperson until very, very recently. Apparently at his speech, he talked about Private Manning. Now, let me give you the background first before I tell you what he said. Manning, of course, is the person who's accused of leaking some classified material, including the videotape of our troops shooting some unarmed civilians and reporters in Iraq, among many other files. Now, he has not been convicted of that. In fact, until recently, he wasn't even charged with it. He was just held in detention anyway. And, okay, you hold a person in detention because you suspect him and you do it within the law. All right, that's fine. But the way that he was being held was absurd. He was held in solitary confinement. Now, Jeff Morrell, the Defense Department spokesperson, had come out on MSNBC and said that it was not solitary confinement, and then went on to explain how it was solitary confinement. He said he's not allowed to talk to anybody. He spends 23 hours a day in his jail cell. When he gets his meals, he's not allowed to talk to anybody or interact with anybody. When he does his exercise in that 1 hour, he's not allowed to talk to or interact with anybody. But that he is on the same floor as other human beings. And he implied that if he wanted to, he could shout from his cell, and maybe the other people in their cells in that same block might be able to hear. In other words, he's in solitary confinement. The only thing Morrell said that he thinks distinguished it at all is that he was literally not in a hole. Wow, are you not merciful? But lately we've had even more stories about Manning. Apparently they strip him naked just to further degrade him, and they use the poor excuse of, he once said, look, why do you guys keep taking away stuff from me on like Suicide Watch or whatever, when he's never shown any suicidal tendencies. And he said, there's rubber in my underwear. If I wanted to do it, anybody could do it. Something along those lines is what he's reported as having said. So they use that as an excuse. Okay, then we'll take away your underwear. And by the way, people have talked to him, including medical professionals. There is absolutely no sign that he would do any damage to himself, even though Morrell said that anyway on TV, even though he knows that that has not been the case at all. And they leave him naked for hours on end, and it's just to degrade him and humiliate him, and it's like Abu Ghraib. And why are they doing this? They're trying to break him so that he will, in their minds, turn against Julian Assange and turn him in. Now, Manning has said that he had nothing to do with Assange, that Assange did not egg him on to give the materials. Of course, that's what the government wants to hear, so they can arrest Assange and say, aha, it was all your fault. You're not really a journalist. You were a co-conspirator, right? So now all this is ridiculous. So when asked about it, PJ Crowley said just that. He said the treatment of Manning is, quote, ridiculous, counterproductive, and stupid. Now, that is entirely true. Hence, Crowley had to immediately resign. You can't be in the United States government and actually tell the truth. If you do, you got to go, son. No, you got to cover up for whatever they're doing. And if it turns out that they are doing what most human rights experts believe is psychological torture, having held him for months on end in solitary confinement when he wasn't even charged with a crime, now he finally is, but he certainly hasn't been convicted. We're treating him like he's the most hardened criminal. And even those guys, some of them don't get this kind of treatment for months on end. So it makes no sense. The fact that Crowley said the most obvious thing in the world should be of little note, except for the fact that, of course, our government despises the truth. How dare you not toe the official line? The resignation was immediate. And, we got a lot of like, oh, he had some good service, but obviously that does not speak for the United States of America and the government, and he's got to go. Hillary Clinton, he serves under Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton sacked him within, they sacked him before you even knew what was going on. I heard the comments, I heard the resignation almost instantly. One thing that was lethal to your career in Washington is the truth. You say that in any way, shape, or form, and you do not belong in Washington. That's why we have the broken system and the government that we have now. Audible.com is the leading provider of audiobooks. They've got 75,000 different titles. A book I've always meant to read but didn't have time for is Guns, Germs, and Steel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to it through Audible.com. Actually, if you're a Young Turks listener, you get a free audiobook at audiblepodcast.com/TYT.